Hi, everyone. Welcome to No Kill in Motion. I'm here with Lisa Maasen of the Grounded Pooch again, Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville. I'm Dave Smith from No Kill Colorado. We're going to talk a little bit about enrichment. And actually, Lisa and I were talking about this before we started recording because I find that enrichment is a there's a lot going on out there, and enrichment is good. I mean, I think it's a positive thing. But what I do see is a lot of, I threw a Kong into the kennel, so I'm enriching, I'm doing my job kind of thing, right? And I think it's more involved than that. So, Lisa, just give us an idea of the way you look at enrichment in general.
Sure. So enrichment is something that you want to do to provide stimulation for dogs, but with the understanding that you're also trying to decrease stimulation. So there's a fine line sort of that you kind of need to walk with it. It can be like any tool; it can be overused, or it can be used incorrectly. So you want to make sure that you're not reinforcing behaviors by using those tools that you don't want to see again, but that you're also providing the necessary stimulation that the dogs need to kind of lower their stress level.
Aubrie, what have you seen out there?
Well, what I'm interested in is I know that there are shelters that do what you said, David. They maybe put some peanut butter in a Kong, put it in the kennel. Maybe they give the dog a slow feed bowl. Some of them, and I think we talked about this when we had spoken with Lisa a few months ago. Some of them are using a program called Dogs Playing for Life, and I think they're honestly using it inappropriately. They're taking a dog that has just come into the shelter. They're putting the dog outside in a play group with a large group of other dogs. And this is a dog that's probably already overstimulated. They're putting him outside with a group of other dogs. And if they don't get along with all the dogs in that group, well, okay, you're out. That's it, right? I think my belief is that almost all dogs are dog selective to a degree. So
Yes, just like we are people selective.
Right. I'd be interested to learn about your thoughts about the value of play groups and some of the, aside from play groups, other than the whole Kong thing, what else is on your list of like enrichment go-to things that you recommend shelters do?
Sure. Okay. So let's start with tools for enrichment. Cheap and easy, scatter feeding. You don't even have to have a tool for that. You take a handful of food, you scatter it in their kennel, and they have to forage with their nose. When dogs are sniffing, it gets their heart rate down, it calms them, it gets them kind of connected to their environment. Feeding straight from a bowl, sometimes some of those dogs that show up there, they don't even know what a bowl is. The bowl itself can be overstimulating. And so by scatter feeding, they're having to get their brain engaged, and they're having to get that nose working. So the more you can do that, the more that's going to calm them. In terms of enrichment tools, you also want to think about, is this dog a more introverted, calm dog, kind of like a kid who's a bookworm? Or do you have a jock or a highly active child who needs more physical activity? You know, a Malinois is a much different dog than a Basset Hound, right? Bassets are going to want to be laying on your couch and maybe even have a chew bone. Maybe they might just want to nap. Whereas a Malinois is going to be looking to climb walls, right? They need, you got to focus on what that dog's innate needs are. And some of that is breed specific, but some of it isn't, right? Just like two children that have the same parents, they may be complete opposites. So you want to really get in tune with the dog. What is it that particular dog is looking for? What is their specific currency?
If you have I have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
when you have that high energy dog, and I mean, Aubrie and I, we talk about, you got to get the dog out. You need to get more, but limited resources in the kennel. What enrichment is actually possible? Is there any enrichment possible?
Absolutely. Anytime somebody approaches that kennel, if they just get the dog to sit before they give them a reward, that's working their brain. Okay. It's as simple as that. As simple as getting them to follow easy commands that most dogs either come in knowing or they can learn very quickly. Watch me, where you're just asking for eye contact. You're not having to touch the dog. You're literally just waiting for them to look at you. Yes, you mark that reward. So there's a lot of things you can do just adding in training commands or cues into your everyday activities with them that gets their brain working, which makes them slow down and think before they act.
That's great. You
So-
said I don't want to encourage anyone not to get the animal out of the kennel, but when they do
Right.
have those days where you're,
Yep.
some
If it's
staff didn't show
raining,
up or something,
yeah.
that we
Yeah.
need
But even-
to find something.
Even if you're outside playing fetch, you don't want to just keep running the dog. Okay. Throw the ball, the dog brings it back, you throw the ball again. To get their brain working, have them bring the ball, drop the ball, have them sit, have them watch. Getting them to slow down between fetches is going to get that brain working.
Okay. Aubrie, did you have something else? I think you had another question.
I think that a lot of times when we talk about enrichment of dogs in shelters, people think we're talking about a big price tag. And I'm not really seeing that. I mean, would you agree that what we're really doing is we're making an investment of time and patience?
Yes, more than anything, time and patience. I ran my nonprofit with less than $50,000 a year. We worked with very challenging dogs. We didn't spend a lot of money on stuff. As a trainer, half the time I forget to take treats. It is about time and patience, exactly what you said. Compassion, empathy, trying to build a connection with the dog. What do I got to do to get them to come to me with nothing? Do I need to sweeten the deal a little bit? Okay, here's a hot dog. What can we do just to get your brain engaged and you calming down that way? You don't need a lot of stuff. Muffin tins and tennis balls are great tools.
And to that end, and I'm sorry, this is just a follow on to that. Can this be done with volunteers who have been trained? In other words, it doesn't have to be staff. Can you train your volunteer force
Really good
so that they're coming in and doing
Easily.
it while the staff is doing other stuff? Okay.
Yep. Easily.
All
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
All
there's a shelter that we worked with in Mississippi. They just trained the dogs to move to the side of their kennel so they could open the kennel door to get them to come in. That was a process for the dogs to learn mental stimulation.
One last thing, because I know we're going to run out of time, just because I want to touch on it briefly. What is your thought about play groups and how they should be handled?
I don't think any dog should be thrown into a play group until they've been in the shelter at least 30 days.
Wow.
30?
Wow.
Ian
Okay.
Dunbar has a shelter guide that says the same thing.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, that's actually a really surprising sentence to me. I did not know that. Well, we are out of time. Lisa, can't thank you enough for joining us again, and we will have you back. It's great having you here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm here with Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville, Lisa Maasen from the Grounded Pooch. I'm Dave Smith from No Kill Colorado. Thanks for joining No Kill in Motion. We'll see you next time.